to another weekly vlog. I was going to do just weekend vlogs, but this weekend is going to be a little bit different because my mother-in-law and probably our nephew, who is the same age as our youngest son, is coming up for a visit. And I know that the weekend, I'm not going to probably pick up my phone to do much recording on the weekend with them visiting. They live 4 hours away, and Chuck's mother has been diagnosed with lung cancer. So she's coming up to see everybody, and she's been visiting a lot. I think she likes that connection here at the house with Chuck. So she's coming up and we're going to visit the kids, and I'm going to make good food. I'm planning to have some stuffed acorn squash and make a quiche or frittata for breakfast on Sunday. So I don't know what you'll see for the rest of the week, but I will be focusing on some new books that I got. And today I'm going with some friends to a little village called Springville. And I've never been there before, but I saw a reel about it on Instagram. And it looked like there was more than meets the eye to this little village. So that's where we're headed today. So come along and welcome to the vlog. Before I leave, I did get a book in the mail yesterday, and this is such a genre-specific book for what I'm going through right now. But I have been trying to read different grief books and different widowhood books, and so far nothing has really, I don't know, I guess given me what I wanted from a book like that. So I found this book on Thrift Books. I haven't started reading it. I'm going to do that while I'm waiting for my ride to show up, but it is called Widow to Widow. It is by Genenvieve Davis Ginsberg. It's thoughtful, practical ideas for rebuilding your life. So it is an older book, but you know, that really doesn't matter. I'm just watching Huckleberry. I think she's going to knock this whole setup right over. All right, so this was written in 1995. So I am going to read that. On my last video, I also took out the book Heartstopper on my Libby app. I guess I overestimated how long it was going to take me to read it, because I think I was done in 30 minutes. It was cute. It was a very well done graphic novel. And I really thought that the Netflix series did a great job with following the book and for picking people to play the roles. They were just spot on. I really love Nick in the movie. I think I like him more than the other character, or in the series, I should say. So I finished it, and I am going to be looking for volume number 2 so I can get that done. Yeah. So I am also currently reading, hang on and I'll get it. Okay, I'm currently reading 14 Days. This is the collaborative novel that was edited by Margaret, Atwood, and Douglas Preston, and it takes place during the pandemic, and it's the story of multiple people who live in an apartment building, and they all are getting together and telling their stories, and each story is an anonymously written story by one of many famous authors. For example, we've got Margaret Atwood and Pat Cummings, Mary Pope Osborne, Alice Randall, R.L. Stein, Meg Wolitzer, just a number of great authors. And it's kind of fun trying to figure out, which author wrote this particular life story. So it's very good. I had never heard of this book until I found it at a little independent bookstore near me. So these two books are what I'm focusing on right now. And I think I'll read while I wait. Before I take the dogs out, just peeking at these babies. I'm gonna have to get them in. I can't leave them out there now that they're here in my yard. Ugh, one more thing to worry about. And it's nice that they have all right, I'm back from our outing. Animals everywhere. That little village was really, really nice. We went to a renovated church that was a showcase for local artists, but they also have art classes and performances. It was very, very, very cool. They had a beautiful exhibition by a watercolor artist, which is what you saw the videos of. And then we went to this great little place to eat called Arts Cafe, which was, it was a connection to the arts center that was in the church. And so besides getting homemade bread and really good food, I had a tuna melt that was the most delicious thing I've ever had, along with some potato chowder. Everywhere you look, there's artwork. And then a huge library of books, which I didn't film at because there were people eating in front of it. But you could sit back in this little nook with books all around you and eat. They had artists who could take a shelf and display their works, which is also what I took a video of. We did a little thrifting and a little antiquing. And then we came home in a giant rainstorm, but it was a nice day. So now I'm going to put on some comfy pants. I am going to score for a little bit, and then at 7 I have a training that I have to do for work. So that has been my day so far. Look at all the leaves. Our yard is always crazy with the leaves. But now we mulch instead of rake. All right, well, here we are. It's the next day. We are headed to Walgreens. It's my trusty sidekick, Hattie McFatty Pants. She has a lot of nicknames because her butt is big. So we call her Big Booty Judy, Hattie McFatty Pants, giant cutie with a booty. So hopefully no one's offended by that. But she doesn't mind. I am on my way to pick up a prescription. And I just got off the phone. I feel like so many moments that I am vlogging are like bittersweet. I just got off the phone. I'm donating my husband's project car. He has a Lincoln sitting in our driveway. He had, wanted to work on it, but that never happened. And he never got it running. So I'm donating it for salvage with cars. I can't remember the exact name of the charity, but you could pick who you want your funds to go to. So I did pick melanoma research. So I got off the phone with them, and they are going to come and pick it up on Wednesday. So that will be one more thing off of my to-do list. And yeah, it's bittersweet because it's been the bane of my existence. That car drove me crazy, and I hated it sitting in my front yard. Oh, what's going on here? I need to get out of my street, but it looks like traffic is extremely slow. Oh, I don't know about you all, but do you have leaf suckers where you live? Hang on. Okay. Anyway, I will be sad to see it go because he never got it running, but I will also be happy to see it go because it was a thorn in my side for very long. So I got that done. I found out that I have a water leak in my Watts valve that hooks my it's for my washing machine, and so that's leaking. It's extremely old and very corroded, and I have to get that fixed. So I went to build a library, and I discovered a weak water damaged section of my floor, and that has to be cut out and put a subfloor in. And then I have a half bath that we demoed and gutted, and he was not able to finish working on it, and I have to have that fixed. And now I have a leaking washing machine hose valve, not the hose. It's just super corroded, so that has to be fixed. And it's just one thing after another, and it's things like you don't think about because another person in your house has the knowledge and ability to do it. Like, there's a lot of things I do. I just look on YouTube and I do it. I fixed my own lawnmower. I fixed my desktop computer. I installed new fans in it. I've done a lot, but I feel like some things are out of my area of expertise. So I looked up how to do the plumbing, and I feel like I can do it. Except I would prefer two people because I have to find the main water shutoff valve, and I have to get the old corroded piece off. So my son, who fixes things for a living, where he works, is very similar to what he does. So he said that he would come over and look at it. I said I would go ahead and buy the new Watts valve, and then he can come over and check it out and help me do it. So I'm thankful for that. At least I feel like it's a two-person job, just to keep an eye in the basement on water leakage. The joys of living in an old 130-year-old, 130-year-old house. I get a chance to, when I get home, I have to, oh, here, Hattie. When I get home, I have to score. I'm super behind because of my little jaunt yesterday, and that's the drawback of doing anything fun when you do have a quota every day, because you get behind. And so now I need to work extra to catch up. And I'm going to have company this weekend. So, anyway, that's my little TED Talk. I'm going to stop. I will catch up with you later when I actually have books to talk about. There's Nellie. This is Molly. Molly. She's very, very old. Well, it's another day and I'm off again, but I did get a package in the mail and I'm excited about it. It's a little sad, but I'm excited about it, and I will share when I get back home. It's a book, but it's not for reading. That's your clue. All right, I'm back. I'm cold now. I don't know if you ever wear these earmuff things, these headbands. You go to take them off and you're freezing. So I'm keeping mine on for a minute. And it is chilly out and rainy, but I wanted to just share what I got for the baby shower. So if my mother-in-law does not come up to visit this weekend, I'm going to my daughter's friend's baby shower. She's having a little girl. I bought her an activity center already, and I wanted to get a few odds and ends to throw in another little bag, but it's just, I mean, look how cute. Look how cute are these. Organic. They're just adorable. And then I have these little, they're made from bamboo, these little blankets. They're so soft. And then I got her a little book. So that is going to go in my bag along with the activity center. So that is what I bought, besides some food, because I want to make stuffed acorn squash and quiche this weekend. And once I get this put away, I'll share the book that came in the mail that I'm looking forward to. Let's put it that way. All right, so if you don't know what Adventure Challenge is, I had bought one of these for my son and his family, only I had bought the family edition. And it's sad because Chuck and I were going to get the couples edition, and now I'm using the solo edition. But it is little adventures that you take, and you don't know what they are until you scratch it off, and then you have to do it. Like the other week, my son sent some pictures that they had done a obstacle course. So they had to make an obstacle course in their house with tape and string. And then they had like a maze kind of, and they had to go through it without touching the string. And he's like, that was a lot of fun. So I decided to get myself a solo one. So what it is, so for example, it tells you what you need for the adventure. So it costs $0 to $20. You do it before dark. It takes 1 to 2 hours. And then it has, let's see, it has a car, a tree, water, and something else. And I'm not sure what that means. Oh, here's the little key. So a car means you have to go away somewhere. Water means you need to get wet. Yeah, I'm not doing that this season. A cart is you need supplies. And trees means it's outdoors. And then you decide, do I want to drive somewhere, get wet, and be outside. Well, I don't know if getting wet is standing in the rain. I could go do that right now. But I decided to do that just to give myself, I don't know, so I'm not just sitting around thinking, what can I do by myself? I haven't been by myself since we started dating when I was just over 19. We met in college and he was my first boyfriend. So I have not been alone. We did everything together unless I did it with my girlfriends. And I don't mind being alone. Like I don't get really lonely. I mean, it's different now, but any other time when I was alone, I wasn't lonely, but now I just feel it hits different. So I decided to try this adventure challenge solo. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to sharing my adventures with everybody. Yeah, so we'll give it a try. So the rules are that you have to unplug from everyday life. If you scratch off an adventure, you have to do it. You have to document the journey. You take a picture and write about each challenge in the journal. And then you can upload it to the adventure challenge. I think it's maybe an Instagram. The beginning story, the very first one, introduces the superintendent of the building. And she is the one that opens up the staircase to the roof where everybody goes to hang out at the end of the day because it's during the pandemic and they can't leave. They live in New York City. They all go up to the rooftop and eventually they're all chatting and talking with each other and telling their life stories to each other. And each one of those stories is written by a different author. So I'm enjoying it so far. I really liked the style of the very first section, which is told by the superintendent. And I've read one of the stories from one of the people up on the roof. And I like that too. I don't know, and I'm not familiar with a ton of the different authors and their styles. So we have like Celeste. I have read some Celeste Ng. There's Tommy Orange, Mary Pope Osborne, who I really enjoy. There's R.L. Stein, Rachel Vale, Margaret Atwood, Sylvia Day, Pat Cummings, Hampton Sides, Meg Wolitzer, just a ton of different people, some that I have not read. So I'm enjoying this book. I'm also reading Widow to Widow. Obviously, this is very niche genre for me, but I like it. I like that it's very straightforward. It's very realistic. It's not a lot of woo-woo. And yeah, it's written by Genenvieve Davis Ginsberg. So hopefully you don't have to read this book, but if you are in the position, so far this is very good. I'm sitting here also watching YouTube. And I'll probably work. My mother-in-law is coming tomorrow. So I probably won't do a ton of filming or a ton of reading, but who knows? So I'm going to just settle in here with my rice bag, my water, and my books. Woo! We're living it up on Friday night. It is a little bit snowy here this morning, just a dusting. Today is a great stay-at-home day to do some reading. Last night I just pretty much went to bed because I didn't feel well, but I'm feeling fine this morning. So the first thing that I'm going to do, besides make my cup of coffee, I'm going to run upstairs and I'm going to do some scoring for my flashlight job. And then I have a 9 a.m. watercolor class I had completely forgotten about. And I'm excited about that. And then at 2 o'clock, I have another class through Creative Mornings. I will share what that is when I get up into my office because I can't remember exactly the gist of what we're going to be doing. But I thought it sounded super interesting. So I signed up for that class. I have a sink of dishes that I didn't do yesterday because I didn't feel well. So I have to get just work done, hopefully get some reading done, and I wanted to share what I'm planning to read in November. Hello, Jasper. Okay, well, that was a little fun class. Finished product. It feels good just to sit down and do something creative. Later on in the video, I want to talk about what I'm going to be reading in February. I've been filling in and trying to catch up with my reading journal, and I'm definitely not making or meeting any goals this year, but that's okay because, you know, it was a year. So, oh, here's Henry. She wants to come and drink the watercolor water. Anyhow, yeah, I'm going to talk about what I'm going to do for like probably the month of November, maybe into December, and catch you up on how I'm doing with the different challenges that I gave myself. And yeah, we'll talk about that later. Right now I'm going to work, and I also have this cool Creative Mornings class that I'm going to be doing in about an hour, and it's called Creating Your Soul Sabbatical. And the premise is that they're going to take you through some techniques that will help you think about if you were going to create your own sabbatical for your soul. Like, how are you going to create something that would give your body and your soul a rest? So they're supposed to be doing like visualizations, journaling, grounding, and it's all through this organization, this website called Creative Mornings. Check it out. I'll link them below. Everything is free. They have talks, they have classes, they have courses on anything: productivity, finance, art, movement. Like later on this month, I'm doing a Qigong class. So I think that's how you pronounce it. But it's just awesome. Technology is great in so many ways. And this is one of many reasons. I mean, I live far away. I wouldn't have been able to go to this watercolor class. I wouldn't be able to do my job right now and sit here in my sweatpants watching the snow fall outside my window with my cats next to me if it wasn't for technology. So sometimes I have to remind myself that it is not all bad. So I'm going to get to work, and then I'll meet back and talk about my reading plans for November. All right, I wanted to share what my November TBR is hopefully going to look like. So obviously it is 11/11 today. Happy Veterans Day. Speaking of veterans, my dad was a paratrooper in the Army. He was too young to make it for World War II, but he was in the Army afterward. And we have many old photos of pictures of little dots jumping out of a plane with a X saying, "This is me." And my son was in the Navy for a while. I'm trying to think if there was, my ex-son-in-law was a Marine. I think that was it. I think that was it for our family. But anyway, I thought that I would share what I'm hoping to accomplish because, all right, the diversity book bingo that Ellen is doing over at Ellen Made Book Club. So you were supposed to read a book from Indigenous people, minority, LGBTQIA plus, a disability, or neurodivergence. And I'm still missing Indigenous and neurodivergence. So I thought that I would look that up. And there's a book that sounds super cute. It sounds pretty light. And it is called The Rosie Project by Graeme Simsion. I need to look up how to say that. Simsion. Simsion. So it is an Australian author, and it is the story of a genetics professor with autism spectrum disorder. And he creates a questionnaire to find a wife. But his plan is interrupted when he meets this woman named Rosie who doesn't fit into his criteria at all. And it's supposed to be a romantic comedy. It was published in 2013. So I'm really, really hoping I can find it at the library. So that's one book that I want to read for neurodivergence. I'm also trying to read every month a Newbery winner. I love YA and middle grade books, and I felt like after I got out of teaching, I didn't really make it a point to read those books anymore. And so now I am. And there's a lot of new Newberys that I have not read. I've read many, many, many old ones, but I'm going to look for one of the last three. So 2023, the winner was a historical fiction book called Sweetwater. Nope. It was a historical fiction book called Freewater by Amina Luqman-Dawson. And it's historical fiction. It says, well, I interrupt this video to jump in here because a portion that I was filming about the Newbery winners just refuses to upload. I don't know what's wrong with it. So let's take a look at the Newberys that I am considering. So the first one is Freewater. It is by Amina Luqman-Dawson, and it is historical fiction. It won in 2023, and it is a lyrical, historical, middle grade novel about two enslaved children who escape from their plantation. And along the way, Homer and his little sister Ada happened to come upon an encampment of other runaway slaves, and they have to survive, and they try to go back and rescue their mother. It sounds very good. I have never read anything by Luqman-Dawson. It was the winner of the Coretta Scott King Award 2. I'm leaning toward Freewater, which is the name of the encampment that they stumble upon. There's two others that I am considering. So the next book I'm considering is called The First State of Being. It is by Erin and Entrada Kelley. Now, earlier this year, I also read Hello Universe. That was the 2018 Newbery winner. She was also the author of that. So the story takes place in August of 1999. The main character is a boy named Michael, who's 12 years old, very ordinary 12-year-old kid, except for the looming Y2K crisis. Do you remember that? I definitely do. So you have that in the background, 2000 is coming. Everyone was unsure of what was going to be happening. I remember that New Year's, my husband and I invited our best friends over and we played Trivial Pursuit. And all of our kids, we had like a little slumber party and the kids all slept in the living room. But anyway, Michael discovers this teenage boy. He's disoriented and discovers that he is a time traveler. And along with him just being a time traveler, he has a book that outlines the events of the next 20 years. And Michael really, really wants to get his hands on it to prepare for the future. So I think it sounds really good. I just finished the last Quintista, which was a science fiction novel, but I feel like I like time travel. So this might be interesting. I did really enjoy Hello Universe when I read it. I can't remember what month I read it in, but I don't know. Do I want to? I gave it 4 stars. I read it in February. So that's another option. The third book that I'm considering is called The Eyes and the Impossible. It is by Dave Eggers. This was the 2024 winner of the Newbery. This is an animal story. So it is about Johan, a free dog. He lives in an urban park by the sea, and his job is to be the eyes, to see the eyes of the park, and then report back what is happening to 3 ancient bison. So he has a seagull, a raccoon, a squirrel, and a pelican as his assistants. And so he is trying to, make sure that the equilibrium of the park is in balance between the animals and the humans. And then suddenly change is happening. There's a big building that's going up. And then there is a boatload of goats who appear, along with a shocking revelation that changes Johan's view of the world. So that also sounds interesting. So those are the 3 Newberries that I am considering. I also have to read a classic for Suey's Classic 6 Challenge. I have only read 1. I have only read A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. And so I need to find another classic. So I want to read the Widow to Widow book. I want to read the 14 stories. I want to read, or is it 14 days? Why can't I get that right? I want to read another Newbery, trying to find the Rosie Project, and then a classic for Suey's Challenge. And for both Ellen and Suey, I'll link their channel below so you can check it out. I mean, it's kind of late now to join in either challenge, but still check out their channels. I also wanted to share, I think in the last video or maybe the vlog before that, I talked about getting a journal that I was just doing gratitude in, and I have to say it has been very helpful. I think I got caught up before. I didn't journal because I felt like I had to write a lot, and these are just every day 1 or 2 things. Sometimes I get going and I do more, but generally if I can just get down 1 thing that I was grateful for that day or that I'm thinking about, it's just been helpful, and I like looking back on it too. So if you are not a journaler and you're like, yeah, I can't write that much. I don't even write in complete sentences. I just write in phrases, and it's worked out really, really well. And I just keep it here at my desk. Before I sit down to work, I I write down what I'm grateful for. So today, I'm grateful that I got the license plates off of my husband's car so that tomorrow the tow truck can come and take it. I had a really hard time getting the license plates off the last car that we donated, and this car is going to be scrapped, and the money is going to go to the Melanoma Research Foundation, I believe. But I'm just grateful because it's freezing outside. Freezing. And I didn't want to be out there very long. And I didn't want everyone watching me like, oh, what's she doing out there? She can't get those off. So I was grateful for that. And now I am just going to be grateful that I have a job, and I'm going to go score. Well, there she goes. This is very bittersweet. My husband's project car. And they're taking it away. Props to these guys. I don't know. He made it seem like, yeah, not a big deal to take that. Hattie is having fun. Yeah, I'm up here in my office watching that car go. And I feel a sense of relief. I had been wanting that car to be gone for a couple of years, and now it is. And my kids, like my oldest daughter, was like, I don't know why that made me just cry, but I've had such a love-hate relationship with this vehicle. Mostly hate. I guess now he's out front. Now that I see it on the truck, maybe I don't hate it as much as I thought, seeing it go. But I'm glad that it's gone. It will save me money, and I get an extra space in the driveway now that I can park the truck. So that's good. So before I head on out of here and end this vlog, I wanted to share one of my favorite little websites. They just sent me an email today to tell me about the freebie ebooks that they have for me in the genres that I have chosen. So hang on, let me flip this around. So BookBub is this cool little site where you can log in. They have a huge selection of free and under $1 books in the categories that you pick. You can sign in and then pick which categories you would like. So for example, if I click free and under $1 in my categories, over here you can see what categories I have picked and the latest deals. So for today, for example, we've got women's fiction, Mistletoe at Moonglow, The King's Man, Rhino Keeper, historical mystery, The Pearl Thief, which is historical fiction, Texas Lily, historical romance, The Eagle and the Flame, which is historical fiction, action, and adventure. So you can log in, you can choose from many, many, many different categories. And every day you can sign up to get an email. Yeah, but it's such a great resource of different books. This month suggested books to read. So here we have the best new historical fiction. Ooh, I love a Philippa Gregory. Top nonfiction picks for this season. And then we have the buzziest new fiction and the buzziest new nonfiction. So it's just a nice resource. So check out BookBub. So I'll put a link to BookBub below. I mean, I feel like it's a really, really nice resource because I love that you can pick your genres. But they have noteworthy deals. They have this month's biggest new releases. So, and the animals are just, but yeah. And you can put books on your wish list, so when they become discounted, they let you know. It's just a nice, like I said, resource to finding books that you might want to read, but you don't want to pay full price for. So check them out. On that note, I'm going to actually go downstairs and read 14 stories, 14 days, not 14 stories. Or is it 14 stories? I don't even know what book I'm reading. The collaborative novel. I'm going to go read that. And I'm going to have a cup of coffee and wrap this vlog up. So, hopefully you enjoyed it. And I will be back soon with another one. Happy reading.